Hello again, everyone, and welcome to The Crusher. I'm Josh Brewster, and I'm here, as always, with my lovely and talented co-host, Susan Olson. Susan, how you doing?
Great, thank you.
So, Susan, there's a lot going on this week. You know, Joe Biden is under all kinds of fire for his decrepit state. But before we get to that, I want to start with this topic. We've touched about this a couple months ago, but I'm going to ask you flat out, who cares what George Clooney thinks?
You know, I keep saying that.
Do you know the name of the person who cares what George Clooney thinks? Because that's all I hear about.
Every candidate that he's raised millions of dollars for, Julia Roberts cares what he thinks.
Yeah.
Most of the Hollywood celebritards care what he thinks.
I remember, I think I said this to you a couple months ago, you know, when we were growing up, and you grew up in the thick of it, God knows, but boy, no one ever said, Susan, hey, is Fred Sanford endorsing Ford or Carter? Is Arnold Horshack voting for Ronald Reagan? How about Patsy Weber? Nobody ever asked these questions. I know Cindy Brady would probably vote for Bernie Sanders because she's a little girl and she wants to be taken care of, right? Is that right?
When she was young, she was really stupid. So yeah. She doesn't want to have to work. She just wants to, just sit back and let the government take care of her. Like
George Clooney. Clooney.
Okay, see, I have to give some patience for this because anybody can say, who the heck cares what Susan Olson thinks? And does it qualify me more that I'm not in the in Hollywood? No, not really. So hey, I understand. You have a platform. You have people listening to you.
Yeah.
If you feel like you have something important to say, you're bound to say it. And then the public can go, or, it's a crisis for me because almost all of my rock stars are complete idiots.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
To politics.
No, I know.
Sad.
No, it is. You want to name a couple who are pissing you off?
Well, I thought I was on Eric Clapton's side because he was so bullied given the cold shoulder by people like Jimmy Page, who is my Lord and Master, and Brian May called him an anti-vax loon. And I thought that was so unfair.
Well, let's be clear.
Like Palestine.
Yeah, no, I know he's got a guitar painted with the Hamas Palestine flag. Well, look, you're right. I have to admit, when he came out with the song "This Has Got to Stop," I applauded him for that. But yeah, I mean, he, Roger Waters, Elvis Costello, Peter Gabriel,
Costello too.
Always David Byrne, always stumping for BDS. We love BDS. We hate Israel. It goes on and on and on. It goes on and on and on. So yeah, Johnny Ramone is dead. He was a famous conservative. Can I tell you? Johnny Rotten. It was funny what did he say? He said he didn't think he would live long enough to see the day when the left becomes the scolds. Right.
And he's like, being conservative is now very punk.
Yeah, and he also said, you're calling Donald Trump a racist. Would you like to tell me what he said that was racist? Exactly. Could he say something that was racist?
Exactly. It's like, I really want to get these people under one light bulb and just go, okay, back up your statements.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
When was he racist? When was he against women's rights? Now, I understand about the abortion thing, and frankly, I'm on the side of the left about that one. But then he said, give it to the states.
Here's what I think. Here's what I think about abortion. Okay, this is what I think. You tell me what you think, honestly.
Oh, you don't want to go there.
No. Listen to what I'm going to say. I'm pro-choice.
Okay.
I've always been pro-choice, but I have a problem with late-term abortion. Oh, okay. Well, now you see
what the brain does.
Oh, okay. So now, if you agree with me on that, then I'm going to mention this to you. I believe there are two things. There are two ways this can go. If the left wants to walk into elections saying abortion is okay up until the day the child is born, that is a loser. That is a losing position.
I think most of them feel that way.
But wait a minute. But if the right wants to walk in saying we're going to eradicate abortion, that is a loser. So here's what, now I'm going to finish with this, then you can take it from here. I believe that the law, this is too deep a moral and ethical issue for the law to ever wrap its arms around. And you better come up with some kind of a workable compromise politically, or else you're going to go down in a ball of flames. And that is why I think Trump's got the right idea. Focus on late-term abortion. Pro-choice, most pro-choice people don't believe that after, God knows however many weeks, that they should be aborting children that could live outside the womb. That's my thought. Politically, I think it's the right move. What do you think?
I agree with you politically. Also, legally, you go up to a certain point where abortion is still allowed. There has to be a point where the fetus has rights, where there is personhood, because otherwise a pregnant woman has no protection. That, if somebody wants to come up and kick her in the stomach and assault the baby, they're assaulting two people. So you have to have that. If you have abortion up to the end, there is no point where a pregnant woman can claim that she's been done wrong.
And also, I also think it's a legitimate point that you can do a carve out for some weird circumstance later in the term. People point to this all the time about the health of the mother. This is excessively rare, but you can do a carve out for that. So I'm just saying, politically, if you want to eradicate it, you're going to lose. But if you want to stand up and suggest that we do this until the moment the child is born, you're going to lose. So you got to come up with some kind of compromise. The law will never wrap its arms around this deep an issue.
And this is why it doesn't belong in government's hands. I want small government. That means the government is not involved in moral issues. I would say there's two really hysterical causes. The left have their hysterical cause too, which is gun control, which you and I know doesn't work. You take away the guns from the people, you're going to have more crime. But they're both things that people get really emotional about. And I would say to most of the pro-lifers, how is it your business? It's not. It's really not. If you want to do good, focus on the children that are being trafficked across our border.
I agree. Okay, well, let's, now that we've solved that one, you want to talk, I want to talk about, here's where I want to go next. Now, we can touch on this when I've had more of an opportunity to look at Project 2025. But I've read I want to get your point on this. But what I think is going on is this Project 2025 is a policy document from the Heritage Foundation. Folks, the Democrats have all kinds of policy recommendations from God knows however many think tanks. I believe that all this hysteria about Project 25, number one, I have lived long enough to learn that the most vociferous critics will not have read Project 2025. They will not have read it. They will just react hysterically because they're told it's bad. Folks, if you haven't read the 900 pages, then, really shut up, because the proof is in the pudding. They're going to tell you what the Republicans are going to tell you, what their positions are. You can stop being hysterical. I think this is a lot to try to distract from the decrepit mess that's running the country. Susan, your thoughts?
Well, in the first place, they're framing this, and they'll give a list, condensed short version of Project 2025 next to a picture of Trump, and claim that these are his policies. I know they're not his policies. Number one is a ban on abortion, no exceptions. That is not Trump's policy. I didn't know much about 2025, but people were asking and talking about it on my Facebook page. And then I found that Trump has disavowed it. Trump says, this is not me. And there are some things about it that I really don't like. I'm paraphrasing. He probably said it more stupid than that. And so I said, okay, stop saying that these are his policies. He has distanced himself from Project 2025.
And they'll still keep throwing it up in his
And
face.
You believe him? He lies. Well,
Yeah,
of
no,
course I believe him. He's going to tell you what his policies are.
Yeah, they're going. Yeah, no, I know. No, hysteria.
If he was in favor of banning abortion, he'd say so. But I guess they've been told by Rachel Madcow and the like that, disregard those 4 years when he was president and he didn't do anything Nazi at all, and he didn't start any new wars, and the economy was better, and he walked into the job a richer man than he left the job. Who else can you ever say that about in government? Oh, don't believe in those 4 years. He's going to suddenly, magically turn into Hitler.
Yeah, it's always Hitler. It's always Hitler.
Well, and I'm getting really freaking sick of it because that is such a disrespect.
Yes, it is.
To the people who went through the Holocaust. And anybody that puts up a meme that compares Trump to Hitler is a fucking tool. I'm sorry, but it really pisses me off. I saw a good friend of mine do that.
Thank you.
I'm like, goodbye, girl. No way.
Thank you. Thank you.
Stupid for me.
I couldn't agree more. And now I want to touch on something that I may be standing alone on this. I don't know if I'm the only one who thinks this, but I got to tell you, Susan, we live now in a world of non-stop election coverage. All our news channels. There's no news. It's not news. It's just non-stop Trump, Biden, Trump, Biden, Trump. Go, if you don't believe me, go turn it on now. It's just non-stop. Then when that ends, and then the aftermath is they work through the aftermath of whoever wins. Then it's 2 years of midterm coverage and how many seats and non-stop election. And I just think this is madness. And I understand it's going to be the lead story, but it is 60 minutes every hour. The Uyghurs are enslaved in China. There are girls sold on the back of flatbed trucks by radical Islamists in Africa. I could just go down the list. There's people dumping toxins into streams. God knows what's going on in the world. So this isn't news, Susan. We are constantly in this show.
It's not news. It's propaganda.
That's all
it is. It's election
carnival.
Interference. It's not election coverage. It's election interference. And part of the reason why they do that is they don't want to focus. Now, obviously, they don't want to focus on world problems, but they don't want to focus on what's going on here in this country. What are the results of Biden's policies?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. By the way, you're right. Because you know what? We just had J.J. Carroll on. Folks, if you haven't had a chance to watch this, I mean, when he tells you, look, you go talk to Black leadership in the South Side of Chicago, and they will tell you, here's what's happening. Illegals are in these hotels paid for by you, and they know, like you've heard people are saying, well, there's a lot of Blacks and Latinos who are really fed up with the Democratic Party. They may not vote for them. And now we're going to be replaced. And this replacement isn't just the evil white man saying he's being replaced. It's Americans of all stripe being replaced. So why don't you take a few minutes out of every hour and show people these hotels where the illegals are staying? Can you take 5 minutes, Susan?
It's a white man's conspiracy theory. You see, it's just nothing but xenophobes that are all upset that brown people are coming over the border. That's what it all is. There's nothing illegal or wrong or terrible going on there. I mean, these people, God bless them. I have had a few lefty friends that watched our show, and I will post it again, with J.J. Carroll, and went, why am I not aware of this? Why are we not seeing this on the news?
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
We're not seeing any of the results of Biden's policies on the news.
Isn't that interesting? Like, you have this major scandal. You're millions of people. You're talking about taxpayers paying for meals and dry cleaning and putting the kids in the schools and on and on and on it goes. And this isn't on the news.
And our people, our veterans, I mean, one of the things I know that's in Project 2025 is to focus on housing for veterans before alien criminals, which
Oh
is
my
the
God.
order.
Susan, this is outrageous. You must be a right-wing kook.
Well, anybody that's a vet was a right-wing kook. I
Okay.
mean, they're patriotic.
No time like the present to move on to this topic, which is basically the same topic. I'm going to read you a little bit. We just had a vote on the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act, otherwise known as the SAVE Act. I'm going to read you a little story here. This is from congress.gov. The bill requires individuals to provide documentary proof of U.S. citizenship in order to vote in federal elections. Specifically, the bill prohibits states from accepting and processing an application to register to vote in a federal election unless the applicant presents documentary proof of U.S. citizenship. Further, the bill prohibits states from registering an individual to vote in a federal election unless at the time the individual applies to register to vote, provides documentary evidence, and requires states to establish an alternative process under which an applicant may submit other evidence to demonstrate citizenship. I think you get the point here. Okay, so now I'm going to read you the vote. Okay, I'm going to read you the vote now because this is so outrageous, Susan. This is so crazy. Here it is. Here's the vote. And by the way, Biden said if it passes the Senate, he's going to veto it.
Yeah.
216 Republicans voted for it. 0 voted against it. 5 Democrats voted for it. 198 against it. The 5 yes votes, Cuellar of Texas, Davis of North Carolina, Golden of Maine, Gonzalez of Texas, and Perez of Washington. I just want to point out 3 of the 5 Democrats who voted for it have what appear to be Mexican-American last names. I just want to point that out. Voted for it. But setting that aside, this makes perfect sense. I cannot understand why this wouldn't go through. And they continue to feed us this line about how asking for ID to vote is racist. President Biden will veto this. Almost no Democrats voted for it. And here comes the election.
Well, like I say, Biden says he'll veto it. Okay. So the president who says he'll veto it also let in millions of illegal immigrants.
Right.
And an election's coming up.
Right.
Gee.
Are you adding this? Yeah. Are you adding this?
What? I'm trying to think. What's the agenda?
You must be a conspiracy theorist.
I must.
You must be a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, and I heard some of the arguments against it about how difficult it is to get an ID. Well, I'm sorry. If you don't have an ID, you are basically a non-person.
How do you
can't do anything?
You can't do anything.
No. So why should you be able to check out a library book? Not unable to check out a library book, but you can go vote.
This is
federal election.
Susan, this is Jim Crow 2.0. How can you ask people for ID? Okay, so they're not going to ask. We can't ask for ID.
Papers. Oh, but that was okay when it involved the COVID jab.
So stop and think. All the people like in South Side of Chicago, they will.
My second husband is from. So I'm familiar with the
area. They will be their votes will simply be replaced in part by illegals voting. This is madness. It's absolute madness. This is absolute madness.
The worst thing is that people are falling for it. And I'm this is another topic. I don't want to go there, but one of the perpetrators, a couple of them, are being called on it, and I hope this goes well. Rachel Maddow being sued by a doctor who didn't like it when she called him the uterus thief? Something. Anyway, some more fake news. And somebody finally went, no, you don't get to get away with that.
Well, what would clarify? She called who? The uterus thief?
It's a doctor. His name escapes me, but there was a doctor. They said that people were coming in across the border. They're being seen by this doctor, and he was removing their uteruses. which is not true. He did have, I think, 2 hysterectomies that he absolutely had to do on our dime, by the way, because the women would die. There's cancer, whatever. The fact that these people are getting medical attention is kind of unnerving. When we have a lot of Americans who aren't getting medical attention. But anyway, she was calling him the big uterus thief, something like that, claiming that he was just taking uteruses. And so he said, nope, I don't think so. And he's suing her. And I think producers, there's several people in the lawsuit. It's for $30 million. And since Rachel never had to retract her story on ivermectin, claiming it was only for livestock, which I guess she thinks black people are livestock because it saved millions of black lives in Africa. It's insane to me.
Is that the malaria drug that they take all throughout Africa? Is that the one? Ivermectin?
Yes. A hydroxychloroquine is used more for malaria. Yeah. This is for hydroxychloroquine. It was used to cure river blindness, which was wiping out villages.
Yeah. Well, look, listen, we're going to reach out to, I won't mention his name now, but we're going to reach out to a writer, see if he can come on here. Susan knows him. We're going to talk about his book about COVID, hopefully very soon on the show here. But listen, I want to move on to another point of madness before we get to our tributes to stupidity. The Sacramento city attorney is threatening Target. They will face fines for reporting retail theft, that these are nuisance calls. I've also heard that they want to sue supermarkets if they decide to close their doors because evidently a business doesn't have the right to do business or to cut its losses when people are going in and ripping off all kinds of stuff. What was it?
Josh, they're just hungry.
As you know, California, because we live in a madhouse, California reduced a host of felonies to misdemeanors, including drug crimes, date rape, and all thefts under $950, even for repeat offenders who steal every day. Reading this from Sacramento, California Globe. You've seen this around California, Susan. My local Ralph's, which I cannot stand this grocery store, but they have had to block off the shampoo aisle because they have a guy. Like if they have a guy, like you pay for it from that aisle because there's so much people ripping off hair stuff and other toiletries. They're ripping off so much of this stuff and just running away that right here, it's in Granada Hills. You can come see it. It's right here on Zelza and Chatsworth. Come on out and check it out. They got a guy standing there to check you out just for those items because there's so much theft. They had to put a locked door at the end of the aisle because this is how we live in California. So now they want to fine Target up in Sacramento for reporting crime. Reporting.
That messes with their numbers, you see. I mean, the whole reason why Nevin Gruesome made it legal to shoplift is so he can say, look, crime's down.
Yeah, crime is down.
When you report crimes, you mess with his numbers. How dare you? That's almost like messing with his hair.
And also, Susan, this idea that these private businesses like that they're here to serve us. They could open and close their doors when they want. Who says they have to keep their doors open? If they don't want people coming in with shopping bags and ripping all this stuff off, why don't they have the right to leave? And why are you fining them?
They do have the right.
This is pure.
They do have the right, and they can fight this, and they must fight this. Just like with COVID, you have rights. Do not let them tell you you don't. You have to insist on them.
And you do not have to serve anybody.
No.
We have rules against servitude. You're not obligated to serve. You're not in the army. You're a grocery store. If people are ripping off your stuff, you call the
profit. If you're not, you're not profiting if people are ripping stuff off.
Well,
every Walmart now has the makeup.
Welcome to California.
Including body lotion
welcome.
In a separate, like room.
Welcome to California. I swear to
Yeah.
God, this don't let America become California. Don't let this happen to you. Susan, have you got a tribute to stupidity? I believe you said that you might have a tribute. All right.
Yeah, I had.
Tribute to stupidity.
Okay, are you ready? It has to be Roger Waters. You know, again, a rock star that I love. Um, and I loved him for political reasons. I think my first Pink Floyd album was Animals, which is very political. Um, I agreed with it, but now looking back, yes, it was political, but very vapid. Very easy conclusions, easy accusations, a lot of finger wagging. And after listening to Roger Waters, and by the way, I heard him on Joe Rogan. I didn't dislike him. But on Piers Morgan, he starts talking about Israel. And of course, you know, he supports Hamas.
Hmm.
And now I would just say evil, but he's stupid. He's stupid because he goes on the show, he talks about how he supports them, and he doesn't have his facts right at all. He thinks it was all propaganda that the victims of October 7th
Wow.
were raped,
Wow.
tortured, set on fire, you know, all kinds
He thinks
of.
that's propaganda.
Oh, he thinks that.
This
Yes,
is,
that it
by the
was
way, this is an anti-Semite, by the way.
oh,
This is
yeah.
a guy who painted a Star of David on an inflatable pig and flew it around the stadiums where he was appearing. If you have no concern at all for Jews being massacred for being Jews, you're an anti-Semite, Roger.
Well, yeah, he is, but he's also an idiot because the biggest thing that really chaps my hide is that he goes on about the one thing that the useless nits, also known as the UN, one thing that they did that was pretty darn good was to come up with the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And he's saying they're paying no attention to it when he's not talking to himself on the side. I'm sorry. There are a whole bunch of countries called the OIC, Organization of Islamic Cooperation, who refuse to sign off on that UN declaration, Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Why? Because it goes against their religion. Why? Because their religion is very focused on killing Jews. Now, here he is criticizing Israel for not following something that they signed off on when Palestine won't even sign off on it, does not believe in human rights, not even for their own people.
No.
And I feel very badly for the good people of Palestine, of which there are some. But most of them are Jew haters. They
said that
and were raping and killing.
They said they would vote for Hamas again, and they voted for him in the first place. I agree. And we know what the UN has focused on Israel to so insane degree. I wish Israel would just throw in the towel and just leave the UN.
But I wish we would leave the UN.
We should throw them out of New York too. So there she is.
Building and make housing for your beloved illegals. No, housing for veterans.
All right, very good. There's tribute to stupidity from Susan Olson, and now I've got my own tribute to stupidity. Tribute to stupidity. My tribute to stupidity today is the acceptance of men in women's locker rooms. I'm going to be blunt. If you still have a penis, you do not belong in a woman's locker room. If you have gone to the length to actually chop it off and create a vagina for yourself and live as a woman without a penis, I guess I can accept that you're going into the women's locker room, which is why I'm suggesting, Susan, right here on the show, I'm suggesting that all gyms and all high school and college, well, not high school, but college locker rooms should have an attendant right near the door to the women's room. And if you're a guy and you still have a dick, they should offer right on the spot to chop your dick off and make you a vagina right there on the spot. What do you think of that, Susan?
I think that. But shoot, too bad organ harvesting doesn't work for dicks. Because think of all the dickless wonders out there. It's me going to waste. And I don't like waste. Think of all the lesbians.
Listen, you're concerned about the environment and you're concerned about conservation, Susan. And I think that we will end right there today. So we each have a tribute to stupidity. Thank you for watching the show, listening to the show. Don't forget to subscribe and share. Susan, thank you so much as always for joining me.
Thank you.
All righty.